This is a podcast with Galiano Tiramani from Boxabl and Chris Airy from Compendium Solutions. Welcome to our show, Leaders with Suspicions. I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to our podcast. Please introduce yourself.
Hey there. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Galiano Tiramani. We are here in Las Vegas where we are trying to mass produce houses. At my company, it's called Boxabl, and we are building houses in the factory with the goal of dramatically reducing housing costs through factory assembly line mass production.
So tell me how you ended up here. Is this the career path you always had, or did you do something else and then one day decided building modular houses was for you?
Frankly, my career path was just kind of winging it, finding an angle, then obsessing about it, learning everything about it, and then you know, working harder than everyone else and beating them out. And I've had a few other businesses. One of them was kind of Bitcoin related exchange business back in like 2013. Then I did marijuana kind of operation up in Northern California. And then while I was there doing that, my decided to start Boxabl. So what I did was I got online, made a website, made a bunch of renders. And so our houses that we build, they actually fold up so they can fit on a truck because obviously houses are very big. So that's why they're usually built on site where it's kind of slow and expensive versus mass produced on an assembly line like every other modern product. So our houses fold up. And when I started putting that online, we started catching people's attention because they thought it was cool. So these clips were doing well. And then I started looking into how do I get interest and people learning more about our product. So started doing a lot of social media marketing, got really good at it. That's why I'm wearing this amazing hat and glasses outfit here because I think it's going to help your algorithm to get some views. Basically, I learned that anything you can do to stop people from scrolling, they're scrolling through TikTok or YouTube, um, and you have basically 1 second to get their attention, and then they stop. And then the longer they watch that video, then it tells the algorithm, show it to more people, show it to more people. And then I realized, this is a numbers game. And the more people I can get interested in my product, my company, the more likelihood of success I would have. So then we ended up with millions and hundreds of millions of views online. And I leveraged that to kind of build the Boxable business, which has really kind of taken off now.
So going back to the start of Boxable, then you just decided to enter the housing market without any skills and experience, but you thought, I can learn this, I can do this.
I knew absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. Now I know everything. Um, and basically, we started showing these renders, like 3D images, drawings, and like, hey, this is what we want to do online. And then one day we got a call from a show, like in Las Vegas, builder show, where they show building housing products. And they said, hey, bring one of your houses down to the show. I was like, well, they're all renders. We haven't built anything yet. And let me call you back. And so then I called the couple other guys that were kind of starting the company with, and I said, "Hey, should we go ahead and uh, make this first prototype? Can we do it in time and get it there?" And then we went into like crazy mad dash mode to make it happen, to build this very unique building system that uses different building materials and manufacturing methods than other traditional building systems. And we managed to pull it off and deliver to that show. Then it became real. We had this real product and started showing that off and got more traction, more interest. And eventually, the US government approached me to build 150 of them for military base housing. So then I took that contract, ran with it, got a big warehouse, hired, over 100 people, set up a bunch of manufacturing equipment and delivered that order in full. And those houses actually ended up in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. Pretty crazy. You can see it on the Google Maps now.
That's quite a pin drop, yeah. So I mean, presumably the your other people you were in the business with, they knew a bit about this industry or building or manufacturing and all that kind of stuff, or did you have to go and get some mentors, and who were they?
Yeah, so it was myself, my father, Paolo, and another guy named Kyle Denman. They're both engineers and they draw uh, 3D solid modeling on the like SolidWorks, stuff like that on a computer. So um, Paolo had built a modular house like 20 years back, factory built house. So he kind of understood some of the problems with it and had ideas to fix it, including inventing the folding idea. And then Kyle grew up, his dad was a builder, like a traditional builder in upstate New York. So they kind of had a little bit of experience on that side of things. And combined with my marketing and sales, it got us to where we are now. We've built about 700 or 800 houses. We've raised over $230 million from uh, investors, and we um, just announced NASDAQ ticker reservation. We have 3 factory buildings in Las Vegas, and we're constantly innovating and changing the way we build. The idea is that if we mass produce on a factory on an assembly line versus doing it on site, it's going to be way more efficient. We're going to have lower costs. And it just kind of makes sense because imagine like you've ever driven by a building site, maybe like by your house or something, every day for 18 months it takes to build a building. You got a bunch of guys running around with, basically manual tools, building these things in a custom manner. So compare that to an efficient assembly line, like for example, automobiles. Automobiles are mass produced on an assembly line. They put out a Ford or a Tesla factory puts out one car every minute or less off that assembly line. So by going at that rate and having that efficiency and standardization, you can really drive costs down a lot. And all the technologies out there to do that, we just had to solve a bunch of problems that have stopped people from being able to do this in a meaningful way in the past. And I think we're really getting there. And I think the vision here is if we prove that we can mass produce houses faster and at a lower cost than everyone, I believe the whole market could be ours to take. Because if you're like a developer or a builder, and you see Boxabl is able to put these buildings up quicker and cheaper and higher quality, and you want to take the leap and try that instead of doing it the old way, I think a lot of people are going to start signing on to that, especially as they see success out in the market. Like you can go on our website and see our projects page. So all these buildings we put out. And then I think that's going to continue to inspire confidence and allow us to sign more and more contracts to sell houses, and then basically go back to the capital markets and say, look, we've proven it out. And I have this factory right now at, you know, about 400,000 square feet of space. We can put out one house every 4 hours, but that's just proof of concept. We need to get to one house per minute in order to absolutely crush the cost, I believe. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And it's a really ridiculously big vision and extremely difficult.
Yeah, I mean, a few people have tried that in the UK. Nothing as pumped up as yours, but they adoption's been a problem, right? Inertia in the industry to change the way they
Yep.
think and
Yep.
and just change the whole approach, and it's never really got off the ground from what I can see. So, what's your
So,
plan to
so
deal with that industry problem?
yep, absolutely. It's funny because there's another failure announced yesterday of a modular company in the US. And that's like the third one this year. And they're dropping like flies. There was a big one that was like backed by big boys in the UK recently that failed. I actually went on Grok last night and said list all the modulars companies that have failed, and the list was so long that when I tried to paste it to post it, it said I was over the character limit on Twitter, and I was like, damn, this is not easy. And here's the proof: every
Yeah,
single one who's tried to do it has failed. Um, and there's a few reasons for that, and I understand what they are. One, regulations for building in general are extremely difficult. Then when you add in modular, there's another layer of regulation. So that's really the thing that's really slowing them down. Have some, workarounds for that we're currently employing. And additionally, a lot of these guys weren't kind of thinking outside of the box. They were just building the same way they're building on site. They were doing it in the factory. We've kind of re-engineered this for assembly line. Then the big one is shipping. The other thing that traditional modular does is they ship a wide load, which is extremely expensive. In the US, if you try and ship a wide load, you have to have not just the truck carrying the load, but another car following it. So then you eat up a lot of the costs and you have a limited shipping radius. That's why our houses fold up so they can ship without the extra cost. And we can get as much square footage on a truck. So we have a 20-foot wide room module that folds to 8.5 feet wide. So we get all that square footage on a truck without paying the oversized fee. And that expands our radius of where we can ship to. For example, that project we did, Las Vegas on the west coast of the US, got shipped to Florida, went on a boat, went to Cuba. That's how transportable our product is. And that enables mass production, because if you can ship to a large geographic area, then you can build a factory that can put out one house per minute. Otherwise, you're going to have a small factory. You're not going to get the efficiency. And, all of these different things is why I think Boxabl will be the winner in this transition that is going to happen to factory built. But there's going to be a lot of carnage along the way.
So there's companies like Huff House that have been around, I think they say since 1912, right? So there are people who've cracked
Yes.
sustainability in the modular market, but
Yes.
or kit, depending how you look at it. But they've not really gone for scale, have they? Which I think is essentially what you want to do.
Exactly. So in the US, the guys who have done it are kind of a little bit different, and it's called like a trailer park house. Do you have that in the UK? So basically, uh, they have a state by state building code, then they have a separate federal code that allows them to build these very specifically designed trailer mobile homes or trailer parks. Those are the only guys who have established a sustainable business model in the US for factory built housing. And guess why? It's the same reason I just told you that the traditional residential code builders failed. It's because they have a regulatory framework that allows them to build this product. They have a 50 state code, but that type of product is not allowed in most areas. So they have a small kind of market, because you can't, like the neighborhood, that I live in, they would never allow, actually the whole city I live in, they would never allow in most places those types of homes. But they have, established these businesses with this very specific product and this very specific code that basically, hopefully, will be opened up to allow traditional building. So mobile homes are built to kind of a lower standard, and regular residential homes are built to a higher standard. But again, even those guys have the shipping issue. And it actually says I read in their SEC documents, like their risk disclosures, we have a wide load. We generally have a 200-mile shipping radius from our factory, blah, 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 because those guys ship a wide load too. That adds to the cost. So, pretty complicated problem, a lot of different players, a lot of different people that can kind of take you down along the way, a lot of different reasons they would want to. Like, for example, a trade union that employs carpenters, they're going to hate this because they're out of business if I succeed. Um, uh, regulators like in another state who don't want money going out of their state, because if I'm shipping into their state, money's going out of their state. I don't like that. So there's a lot of different guys along the way who can shut it down, and it makes it really difficult. And these are all the reasons that other guys have failed. So we're gonna power through it, and I think we're gonna be successful and grow and grow and grow. But it's gonna be a difficult journey, and it certainly has been so far.
Right. So you got a $230 million monkey on your back there, right? And people have got
Uh,
expectations. So what does a typical day look like for you?
Typical day is all day, every day, on my phone, on my computer, taking meetings, finding leads, telling my team what to do, trying to figure out how to win. And you're right about that uh, monkey because it's pretty serious, amount of money. So we need to succeed for all the people that have given us that the money and believed in this vision, and we're very grateful to them. There's 50,000 of them who are into this and interested and rooting for us. But there's a lot of people rooting against us too. You can read about it online.
Okay.
Fuck,
50,000 investors.
fuck those people.
How did
Sorry.
you find 50,000 investors?
Uh, so it goes. Sorry, my AirPod fell out. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So
Okay, okay, got it.
how did you find 50,000 investors?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so that's what I was telling you before about kind of marketing before the show when I was suggesting what you could do,
Yeah.
and the reason I found 50,000 investors is because I'm wearing this hat and glasses. And if you look at all my other videos, because I'm doing weird shit to stop people from scrolling for 1 second so that the algorithm then shows my videos to more people. And then we end up with hundreds of millions of views. So it's a numbers game. You can sell anything through marketing with a good sales funnel strategy if you get enough people to see it, any product. So once I figured that out, I just kept running with it and running with it and pushing and pushing and pushing. And growing that social media. And of course, that's the new thing. That's how everyone does things now. And it's opened up a whole new kind of economy for people. But I've been one of the most successful and prolific crowdfunders ever. And you know it's been a pretty wild learning curve from no background in marketing, no background in sales, well, a little bit, and certainly uh, no understanding of the regulatory stuff with Securities and Exchange Commission and all the risk that was there.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, we did end up getting investigated by the Securities and Exchange Commission um, because of all the craziness. Like when you have so many eyes on you, there everyone's scrutinizing everything you do. And then there's crazy people out there. Like it's almost like if you're a celebrity, you can't go in public because there's like crazy stalkers. Those guys are online and they're talking, and so we end up getting investigated for a year, hand over 500,000 documents, do interviews, and at the end of the day, they say uh, no charges filed against you. You didn't do anything. Well, not exactly what they said. I'm not supposed to say it like that. Sorry. But at the end of the day, they said no charges filed, and I think that uh, speaks volumes to how I've kind of steered the ship so far. Since I came into this with just no experience, just winging it, and now here we are, getting some more and more professional management as we go, getting more and more dialed in.
Here's the tricky thing, the fine line between financial promotion and just enticing people to look at something that they might want to get involved in. Yeah. So that's probably the subject of 5 hours of a podcast on regulation. So let's not do that, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
As you just said, 500,000 documents. It ain't fun doing that kind of
No,
stuff. Yeah.
no.
So, operational challenges. You've mentioned sales and lead generation and breaking through, but other than that, what are the key things?
So tremendous amount of interest and demand in the product, but it's not, you know, uh, a pair of sunglasses that I can ship in a FedEx envelope when someone wants to order it. There's a tremendous amount of planning and preparation that goes into building a building. So that creates like a long sales cycle. And I didn't realize that at first because from the day that someone says, I want to buy this, I can't sell it to them that day. We got to figure out if they're allowed to have it. We got to figure out if they can get financing. We got to start doing site work, preparation, utilities connection. So it takes a lot. And, you know, um, So the leads we worked on a year ago only come to fruition today. So a lot of people online are like, where are all the houses? Like they're coming, they're all starting to get under contract, and here's the ones that we've put out already. And you know, um, so that was challenging. Additionally, the regulatory framework in the US is total disaster. Every state has different rules and regulations. So right now I can only sell in 14 states. That's okay because we have California, which is one of the biggest states, and they're one of the most pro ADU, which is our first product. Um, ADU being accessory dwelling unit, so like a small uh, little backyard house kind of thing. That's our product, our first product. So California is loving those. They've passed a bunch of regulations to promote them. So all I need is California right now. Um, so we're running with that. Um, and then yeah, just regular issues every day, all day.
So let's talk about talent then. Where do you find the kind of people who want to work for you and not just see it as a job, right? How do you create that recruitment and vision and loyalty and creativity?
We've definitely had some bumps in the road with talent, and it's extremely hard to judge people, especially with just a few interviews. And um, luckily, the marketing has contributed to that. So a lot of my good best employees found me because they got exposed to the company online, and then they looked at it and looked at it and they said, I want in on this. And they called me and they said, hey, can I come in? Can I interview? Um, you know, and these people, some of the best ones, like hunted me down and like were like, I need to work here. So we kind of got lucky with some of our really good guys. We have an amazing team now. We've weeded out the bad ones, and it's it's really top-notch team at the moment. Thank God, because I need that.
So when do you think you're going to start getting the case studies and people are going to go, that's a brilliant success and that because should be self-fulfilling at that point. It should be a flywheel, shouldn't it?
Yep, and it is. So, for example, one of our better projects was with Catholic Charities in Oklahoma, I think. They did a really nice project. Oklahoma has great regulations, and they're coming back for more. So that's going to keep happening. People are going to keep seeing success. We're going to keep explaining why it's better to do it our way. We're going to keep innovating. We're going to keep pushing the cost down. We're going to keep scaling up. We already have a new version. So right now we're running with the same product that we built, design day one, but we have kind of a phase two that we're going to be rolling out that we think is going to reduce cost quite a bit and fix a lot of other issues, increase structural strength, make it easier on regulations, increase fire ratings, enable us to build multifamily buildings, single family buildings, like a configurable system of boxes that connect together to make houses. So that's all the kind of the stuff we're working on, that and a bunch of other products that we're trying to roll out next.
Okay. Fostering innovation, right? You're innovating in product, you're innovating in pushing regulations, you're innovating in changing mindsets. All of that, how do you organize it? What technology you use to run your business, or is it just very people centric? You're going in so many directions, right? It could just turn into a shambles, couldn't it? So what are you using to control?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the technology these days is so good. It really makes things uh, quick. Like I can't imagine how much harder it would be to do things, even 20 years ago. Like for example, not business related, but the other day I had to go to the T-Mobile to get my phone fixed. Um, so I drive to the mall, get out of my car. Between walking to the car and the elevator, I go on my phone and I say, "Hey, which floor is the T-Mobile store in?" By the time I'm in the elevator, my phone tells me floor three, and boom, I'm there. And it's just like we leverage all that kind of stuff to make things go faster. Um, Specifically, we are in HubSpot. to manage all of our kind of leads and emails. We use Teams, Microsoft Teams, to chat with all the employees, so we're in constant communication on our phones. I have a list, a million lists on my iPhone notes, all that kind of good stuff.
But in terms of the core around the scheduling, the organization, the planning, the project management of the builds and all of that, do you use something or are you building your own?
Oh, for there's one software that we have. It's called Can I Build? That's pretty good. Basically gives you like a top-down visual of the site, and then you can drop the house on it, and then it gives like dimensions, pulls the regulation for that site to tell us what we're allowed to do, and a bunch of different stuff on Can I Build. So I'll give them a shout out, and you know, that's all the kind of things that we need to do to make this happen and find good partners to help us get through, you know, permitting, engineering, site planning, site preparation, all that good stuff. And then, we have our factory, and then we have the crew that's going to end up out on site building. So there's a lot of pieces to manage.
Do you have your own logistics or are you using 3PLs and stuff?
We do have some of our own trucks, and but mostly it's third-party trucks right now.
Okay. And how do you find
Yeah.
that, logistics management and tracking and all that kind of stuff?
It's all good. That's pretty standard stuff. We don't need to innovate there much. So just kind of hire a guy with experience on that, and let him run with it, and take a peek into what's going on once in a while.
Yeah, it's good actually. You got the money to hire the right people and do it right, and so, that's really helpful, isn't it, when you're scaling to being able to get the expertise when you need it. Yeah.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
in terms of the where you need to innovate and where the challenges are, what are the challenges from delivery? I mean, you've talked about the growth, but what about the delivery side?
I mean, like I said, it's regulation and the length of the sales cycle. Those are the two big issues. And the regulation is killer because a lot of these states have in addition to a building department, they have a state program. So if I want to go sell somewhere, they're basically going to say, some of the states are nice and some are not. So I've had one state, for example, is New Mexico. We call them and say, hey, we want to be approved at your state program. Literally, I think within like 4 days, they looked at and saw that we had already been approved in another state, and they said, you're good. They overnighted us a letter saying you're approved. But in Texas, we faced like serious challenges where they just delay intentionally. So we've had some states push us for over a year saying, no, you can't sell here, just making shit up, literally making shit up. So I have, it meets the building code, it meets and exceeds the building code in pretty much the whole country. I get it designed by my engineers. I get it approved by third-party licensed engineers. Then I get it approved by the state engineers. Then I go to another state and they look at it and they make comments on it. Same thing. Then I go to another state, they look at it and they make comments on it. The regulators can't not make a comment because they feel like that's their job. Maybe, I don't know. Even though this already has been approved by California, Arizona, New Mexico, same exact thing. So it's really challenging. And even the one regulator, the building code is very like up for interpretation. It's not really very black and white. So one regulator might say, move this pipe 2 feet over to the left. And then I got to go back through all the other states and move the pipe because I want to build the same product in our factory. So that's the thing that's really killing us. If I had the whole country to sell in with one approval, and that's what I need from the government to give me, one approval, sell to the whole country. It's common sense. Come on. You know, that would really, really change the game for me because these regulators are absolutely killing me. I had to have a meeting with the governor of Nevada because his um, housing department was blocking us intentionally. And he was a good guy. A week after the meeting with him, they said, "You're approved." Because he went to his employees and he probably said, "What's the deal? Why aren't these guys approved?" And they said, and then he said, "Fucking approve them." I'm guessing. He would never say that. um,
Fair enough.
he would say it in a polite way. Um, and then now I'm having a meeting with the Arizona uh, government in a month because they've been slowing us down, and I really, I don't understand why some of these guys do this because it's not for the greater good. It's not cool. It's not nice. Our mission is a good mission to make housing affordable and help people and help poor people who can't afford housing. So what are you doing, guys? Come on. There's a bigger good mission here. And if you're getting in the way of it, you're the bad guy as far as I'm concerned. You're the bad guy. I'm gonna fight you. So, that's my challenge. And really hoping the new administration can fix some of this stuff. I don't know how high of a priority it is. I know they've mentioned it. But we really need to reorganize the way buildings are built in the country, and we need to reorganize the building code. We even have in every different state a different version of the building code. So you have like 2019 in one state, and the 2015 in another state, and the 2023 in another state. So lots of challenges with regulations, but luckily there is enough places we can sell that's going to eat up everything we can make once we're ramped up, I believe. So it's a really big problem. There's a 5 million unit housing shortage according to the statistics in the US, and that's plenty for me.
Yeah, it's pretty big in the UK. They're looking to build 1.5 million, but in the next few years, but progress is not really at the rate it needs to be to hit that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
something has to change. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So we talked a bit about the negativity of regulation, and you're quite very passionate about your business. Generally, what excites you about the whole modular mindset and breaking through this barrier? What do you see could happen in the country?
I mean, I the vision I have is just very big. It's like too big. It's crazy. And I say it all the time. Like, we need to be brute forcing this problem. I need billions of dollars to execute on this vision, and we'll see if I get it. And if people keep believing us, and we keep pushing, we will get to the point where I hope we will get to the point where we can really bring down the cost of housing and put out a lot of housing. And that's what we're trying to do. And we might fail in a really big way, or we might win in a really big way. I think it's going to be one or the other. I don't think there's an in between for this.
Okay, so let's move on to what you would say to other people starting off their career or looking for their right groove in their lives, right? So you said you tried a few things and then you ended up on this. So what advice would you give to somebody who's like, I need to do something meaningful, but I don't know what it is?
Well, for me, working for someone else would have never worked because, frankly, I'm too dysfunctional to do that. And I think if you want to do your own thing versus getting a job, you got to realize it's probably going to be harder. But you might end up with a little more freedom at the end of the day. And what I always tell people is just just literally never give up, because then you can't really lose if you keep going and keep pushing and pushing and pushing. And yeah.
So let's ask a different question. What lesson have you learned the hard way that you kick yourself for learning the hard way?
Um, one one regret I have about the way we went about Boxable, which may end up working in my favor or not, is we went a little bit big, a little bit early. and I think I should have slowed down. But we entered into it with this kind of false sense of security, because literally before I even had anything, I get this order from the government, and I'm like, there's so much demand for this, and then on top of that, we have uh, hundreds of thousands of people putting their name on my website saying that they're interested in buying the product. And then I bump into all these challenges. That is the reason all these other modular companies have failed. Then I have to solve all those challenges, and then all of a sudden it slows down. But I have this big overhead, and then grinding through this cash and trying to get to the other side of it. It's extremely crazy.
I understand that. Actually, I worked in a maritime startup that exited, and the first client that business had was probably the most clever client in the industry, right? And that set them back because their solution was designed for a really good situation. And then they had to
Yeah.
adapt it. And it took a while to realize, right? You need to change. And in the end, it was
Oh
an
yeah.
external force, an external client that said, if you want our business, you need to do this, take it or leave it. And that was the shock that changed the thinking, really, is hitting that wall. So it makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is like hardcore, crazy stuff, high risk, extremely high risk for me. Um, we are working so hard every day to try and solve this and win and fix housing. And a lot of people stand to benefit if we figure it out. So hope we do.
Okay. And last question. What do you wish you knew when you started out?
Um, uh, uh, just kind of like I said before, wish I knew more about the regulations and how they would affect me and slow me down. I wish I had picked one market and gone for that instead of trying to hit the whole country. I think that would have been a safer move. Um, but in hindsight, down the line, maybe I did make the right decision to go big. So we'll see. We'll see how it ends up.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
I'm under a little pressure right now. But maybe I won't be in a year. Maybe I'll be in a good spot, and it'll have been a good decision to go so big.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you knew all the pain you would go into, whether you would have the velocity you've got now, right? So I think that's a bit of a double-edged one, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So thank you for
Cool.
your time. That's a fascinating podcast, fascinating industry, and best of luck with it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Have a good day.